In today's video, we look at an issue that we can encounter in every aspect of our lives: disrespect. At work, in the family, on social media. Disrespect is something we all encounter from time to time. But how do we deal with these challenging situations? How can we protect ourselves and respond in a mature way? In this video, I will give you 8 surefire ways to deal with disrespect. Before you start the video, don't forget to subscribe to my channel and like the video for more content like this. When you're ready, let's get started. The power of staying calm. Staying calm in the face of disrespect is one of the most powerful ways to deal with such situations. But it is often not an easy skill to master. When you are confronted with disrespectful behavior, your anger usually rises quickly and you are tempted to react immediately. However, such a reaction often makes the situation worse. Remaining calm not only gives you control, but also frustrates the other person's attempts to provoke you. It allows you to use your reason rather than your emotions, and helps you to deal with events in a more constructive way. To stay calm, you can start by getting into the habit of breathing deeply. When faced with a disrespectful situation, take a deep breath through your nose, hold it for a few seconds, and then breathe out slowly. This simple technique will calm your nervous system and help you regain control. Also, remember that this kind of behavior is usually not about you, but about the other person's own inner problems. Make it a habit to tell yourself, this person's behavior defines them, not me. This perspective takes you away from the emotional burden of the situation. Taking time before reacting is also an important part of staying calm. Pausing for a few seconds allows you to clear your mind and helps you make a more informed decision about how to respond. If you have a chance to get away from the situation, it can also be helpful to take a short walk or go to another room. Such a break allows you to assess the situation more objectively. You can also use mental exercises such as meditation to make staying calm a habit. A daily meditation practice of 5 to 10 minutes will both increase your ability to cope with stress and improve your mental resilience. In addition, visualizing yourself reacting calmly is an effective way of preparing your brain for the situation. Remaining calm in the face of disrespect is a great strength, not a weakness. By adopting this approach, you can show yourself and those around you that you have a strong character. In the long run, this attitude will lead to healthier relationships and greater self-esteem. Analyze disrespect. One of the most effective ways to deal with disrespect is to analyze the situation correctly. Not all disrespect is the same, and it may not be right to react in the same way in every situation. Trying to understand why the other person is behaving in this way is a crucial step in shaping your response. Sometimes people can be disrespectful without realizing it. This may be due to a lack of communication or thoughtlessness. Sometimes, however, such behavior is deliberate and intended to upset or humiliate you. Analyzing the situation correctly will help you decide what strategy to adopt. First, consider the other person's mood when evaluating their words and behavior. He, she may be going through a stressful time or projecting anger at someone else onto you. In these cases, it may be helpful to take a step back and look at the bigger picture rather than reacting. However, if you are being deliberately disrespected, it is important to recognize this and set boundaries. When analyzing the disrespect, you can ask yourself the following questions. Is this behavior really directed at me, or is the other person acting out their own internal issues? Or why might this person behave in this way? These questions will help you make sense of the situation before you react emotionally. You should also consider whether the disrespect is a habit or a momentary occurrence. A more decisive strategy may be needed to deal with someone who is consistently disrespectful, while being more tolerant of a momentary behavior may be sufficient. Remember that analysis is not just about understanding the other person, it is also about understanding your own boundaries. Some people may violate your boundaries without even realizing it. In such cases, it is important to express these boundaries clearly after analyzing the situation. This not only increases your self-esteem, but also shows the other person what is acceptable. Being able to analyze when faced with disrespect allows you to approach things in a calmer and more conscious way. As you develop this ability, you can both protect yourself better and find more constructive solutions. Understanding and assessing disrespect not only allows you to avoid emotional reactions, but also to show a mature and strong attitude towards the other person. Take a strong stance. One of the most effective ways to deal with disrespect is to take a strong stance. A strong stance does not mean a physical or verbal response. It is the ability to set clear boundaries for the other person while maintaining your confidence and respect. People often try to gain the upper hand by taking advantage of your weaknesses, which you can then respond to. However, if you are confident, firm, and calm, you will frustrate their efforts. To project a strong stance, you must first learn to control your body language. Standing up straight, making eye contact, and maintaining a calm facial expression show that you are in control of the situation. Especially if you are confronted with a disrespectful attitude, focus on keeping your body and posture strong rather than belittling yourself or becoming agitated. Your body language sends a message not only to the other person, but also to yourself. A strong posture makes you feel more confident, and with that confidence you can make better decisions. It is also important to take a strong stance verbally. Remaining silent in the face of disrespectful behavior can mean ignoring the situation, which may encourage the other person to repeat the behavior. Instead, express the situation in a calm but clear way. For example, "I don't like it when you talk to me like that," or "I can't accept this behavior," are ways of expressing your limits. It is important that your tone is not raised and that your words are firm, not accusatory. Being firm does not always have to be about changing the other person. Some people may continue to be disrespectful, and the only thing you can control is your own behavior. Therefore, a strong stance is based on maintaining your own values and boundaries. Instead of waiting for others to set limits on how you should speak or behave, set and enforce those limits yourself. Remember that taking a strong stance does not mean escalating a conflict. On the contrary, it paves the way for the other party to respect you. A confident, calm, and clear stance will not only discourage disrespectful behavior, it will also boost your self-esteem. If you adopt this attitude, you will find that people will be more careful about how they talk to you and treat you. Taking a strong stance is one of the most solid steps you can take to build mutual respect. Use the power of humor. Humor is an extremely effective tool for dealing with disrespect. When used correctly, you can both diffuse the situation and show the other person that their behavior is wrong. As well as reducing tension, humor is a creative way of defending yourself and showing your confidence. However, the important thing is how you use humor and how you get your message across. The purpose of humor is not to embarrass or humiliate the other person, but to show your own point of view and turn the situation around in a positive way. If you encounter a disrespectful remark, handling the situation from a humorous point of view rather than responding seriously will both ensure that the other person does not get the reaction you expect and relieve the tension in the environment. For example, if someone sarcastically suggests that you are incompetent, responding with something like, "You're right, I can't use my superpowers until I've had my morning coffee," will diffuse the situation and change the target of the sarcasm. Such an approach may cause the other person to reconsider their disrespectful behavior towards you. Naturalness is important in the effective use of humor. Exaggerated or forced humor can complicate the situation. So be careful to use humor in a sincere way and avoid turning the issue into a bigger problem. You should also remember that you are using humor to control the situation. It is a conscious strategy, not a defense mechanism. Humor can also neutralize the other person's attempt to exert power over you. If the person is trying to make you angry or upset and you respond with humor instead, they will see that their efforts are futile. Not only will this help you maintain your confidence, but it will also make it less likely that the other person will disrespect you again. By responding with humor, you can clearly show that you are in control of the situation and that you are in the driver's seat. However, it is important to remember that humor is not appropriate in every situation. Humor can send the wrong message, especially in the face of disrespect on a serious or sensitive issue. In such cases, a direct approach may be preferable to humor. However, in appropriate situations, the power of humor can positively change the mood of both you and the other person. Humor is a sign of maturity and self-confidence. By responding in a humorous way to disrespect that is intended to hurt or humiliate you, you both teach the other person a lesson and protect yourself from unnecessary conflict. If you adopt this approach, you will not only be able to handle tense situations more easily, but you will also experience the comfort of being able to express yourself in a stronger and more confident way. Learn to set boundaries. One of the most effective ways to deal with disrespect is to learn to set clear and firm boundaries. Boundaries serve as a guide for how people should treat you, and they define both your and the other person's roles in the relationship in a healthier way. If you don't set boundaries, people may continue to disrespect you, either unknowingly or intentionally. However, setting clear boundaries is one of the most important ways you can show respect for yourself and others. The first step in setting boundaries is to identify what behavior is unacceptable to you. You can do this by asking yourself the following questions. In what situations do I feel uncomfortable? Or, what behavior by others affects me? Answering these questions honestly will help you to define your limits more clearly. Knowing your boundaries gives you a basis for expressing them clearly. When you set a limit, it is important to express it calmly but clearly. For example, if someone is constantly criticizing you, you can express your discomfort by saying something like, "I appreciate some of your criticism, but I feel uncomfortable being spoken to in this way." The important thing is to speak without blaming the other person or becoming defensive. This will save both you and the other person from unnecessary conflict. Setting boundaries should not be limited to verbal expression. You should also back it up with your behavior. If someone is constantly violating your boundaries, you may need to take a more firm stance. For example, if a friend constantly makes rude jokes at your expense and continues to do so even after you have warned them, distancing yourself or spending less time with them may be a way of maintaining your boundaries. If you make concessions to people who violate your boundaries, you are setting the stage for this behavior to happen again. Learning to set limits is a responsibility not only to others, but also to yourself. Being able to say no to people or to speak up when you feel uncomfortable increases your self-confidence and strengthens your self-esteem. Setting boundaries also helps you build healthier relationships in the long run. A relationship without boundaries often results in one party suffering and an unstable dynamic. Remember that setting boundaries is not about creating conflict, but about protecting yourself and guiding the other person. When people don't understand your boundaries or violate them, being clear about this makes you more honest with yourself and with them. This makes you feel more valued and increases the other person's respect for you. Learning to set boundaries makes you feel stronger and more secure. This allows people who relate to you to approach you more consciously and respectfully. Try to empathize. Trying to empathize in the face of disrespect is an effective way of both understanding the situation and preventing potential conflict. Empathy involves trying to understand the other person's feelings, thoughts, and situation. This does not mean that you condone their disrespectful behavior. On the contrary, it allows you to see the reasons for their behavior. Sometimes people can be disrespectful because of stress, anger, or personal problems. By empathizing, you can deal with such situations in a more constructive way. The first step in empathizing is to analyze the other person's situation. They may be having a bad day, under a lot of stress, or unable to control their anger. You can put yourself in their shoes for a moment and think, if I were in that situation, how would I feel? This perspective will reduce your anger towards that person and help you to adopt a more understanding attitude. For example, a colleague who speaks harshly to you at work may be under pressure to meet a deadline that day. In this case, instead of taking their behavior personally, approaching them from a place of empathy will make the situation easier for both of you. Empathy also allows you to approach the other person calmly. If you notice someone's disrespectful behavior, instead of responding directly in an accusatory way, you can try to understand the background to the situation by asking questions such as, "Is this a problem for you?" or "Is everything okay?" This kind of approach will both help the other person to calm down and move the communication to a more constructive level. Empathizing also makes the other person more open to listening to and understanding you. However, while empathizing, you should not forget your own limits. Although it is important to try to understand the other person's situation, this does not mean that you should tolerate their disrespectful behavior towards you. Empathy should help you to protect yourself when you try to explain behavior that hurts or offends you. If someone is consistently disrespectful, empathy can be a tool for understanding the situation, but it does not change the fact that you need to set limits. Empathy benefits not only the other person, but also you. Making sense of a situation and approaching it with understanding rather than anger takes the pressure off your mind and puts you in a more balanced state of mind. Being able to empathize and understand why people behave the way they do also makes you a stronger and more mature individual. Empathy allows you to develop your own emotional intelligence as you try to understand the feelings of others. In conclusion, empathy is not a passive way of dealing with disrespect, but an active solution. By trying to understand the other person's perspective, you not only avoid conflict, but also demonstrate a deep maturity in human relationships. When you empathize, you can see things from a broader perspective, avoid unnecessary conflict, and feel emotionally stronger. This attitude allows you to build your relationships with people on a more solid foundation, not only in the immediate situation, but also in the long term. If necessary, do not respond. One of the most mature and effective ways of dealing with disrespect is sometimes not to respond. This does not mean remaining passive or trying to prove yourself right. On the contrary, it means taking control of the situation and preventing the other person from achieving their goal. Sometimes not responding to a person means that they will not get the reaction they expect and that their behavior will not be effective against you. This approach provides the strongest response to disrespect while helping you to maintain your own inner calmness. Not fighting back when necessary may not always be the most appropriate strategy for defending yourself, but in certain situations it can be much more effective. In particular, if the other person is only trying to provoke you or make you angry and out of control, any reaction you give them may achieve the desired result. In such situations, remaining silent and not responding in any way can be one of the most powerful ways of getting your message across to the disrespectful person. Not responding is a strategy that requires patience and maturity rather than a show of strength. Sometimes people are disrespectful just to get a reaction. When this happens, you defeat their purpose by remaining silent. Silence is also a clear indication that the other person is misbehaving and that you do not accept such behavior. Your silence sets a boundary. In some cases, not responding can also be an important strategy to avoid repeating disrespectful behavior towards others. If someone is constantly trying to provoke you, remaining silent is one way of resisting such behavior. Reacting to a disrespectful person often leads to more conflict and often complicates the problem rather than solving it. Not responding at all, on the other hand, allows you to let the situation pass quietly. Another important point is that not reacting allows you to remain in control not only in the moment, but also in the long term. Reacting in anger to disrespect may only resolve the situation temporarily and may cause regret or a bigger problem later. Staying silent, on the other hand, allows you to control yourself emotionally and resolve the situation in a healthier way. In a sense, not reacting is a way of maintaining your own peace of mind and inner control. Of course, adopting this approach as a permanent strategy may not be appropriate in all situations. From time to time, it may be necessary to set limits and ask the other person to correct his or her behavior. However, when faced with disrespect, not reacting first can help you deal with it in a more mature way, without taking it personally and creating unnecessary conflict. Sometimes this means giving the strongest possible response: silence. In conclusion, you don't always have to respond to disrespect. Sometimes silence is the most effective and mature approach. Remaining silent not only prevents the other person from provoking you, but also helps you to maintain your own peace of mind. If you use this strategy at the right time and in the right circumstances, you will both feel empowered and clearly show the other person what is acceptable to you. Increase self-confidence. One of the most basic ways to deal with disrespect is to increase your self-confidence. A confident person is more resilient to negative or disrespectful behavior from others and can deal with such situations in a healthier way. Knowing your own worth makes you feel strong and at peace, regardless of how others see you. When faced with disrespect, a confident person does not take it personally, but handles the situation maturely without getting emotionally involved. The first step in building confidence is to know yourself and focus on your strengths. Reminding yourself of your own skills, achievements, and values can strengthen your inner confidence. The more confident you are, the less you will be affected by the negative behavior of others. It is therefore very important to celebrate your achievements and focus on self-improvement rather than constantly criticizing yourself. Even celebrating a few small successes can be the start of building your confidence. Another important step is to develop a positive inner voice. When you find yourself in a difficult situation, your inner monologue plays an important role. Telling yourself positive affirmations such as, "I can get through this," or "I won't let this affect my worth," will build your confidence. Putting negative thoughts aside and motivating yourself with uplifting thoughts will help you care less about how others treat you. Remember, your confidence should not be shaken by disrespect or criticism from others. Another way to build self-confidence is to set personal boundaries and make sure they are respected. When you set your own boundaries, you make it clear to others what those boundaries are. Self-confidence includes not remaining silent in the face of disrespect towards others and making it clear when necessary. Knowing your own values, needs, and boundaries not only helps you deal with disrespect, but also creates a more solid and secure foundation for your relationships. A confident person does not allow the behavior of others to affect his or her self-worth. If someone is disrespectful, it is not perceived as a personal attack. It is simply the wrong behavior of that person. By being confident, you can remain strong in the face of negative comments or behavior from others. Knowing that your own worth is independent of what others say or do will give you great strength in dealing with disrespect. Another way to increase your self-confidence is to develop your emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence is a skill that enables you to understand yourself and others. With this skill, you can better manage your emotions and stay calm when dealing with negative situations such as disrespect. Developing emotional intelligence also increases your ability to empathize, allowing you to better understand the reasons behind other people's behavior. Finally, building confidence is an ongoing process. Improving yourself in small steps every day will help you become a more confident individual. Adopting a positive attitude towards yourself will allow you to remain emotionally stronger and react in a healthy way when faced with disrespect. Loving, valuing, and trusting yourself reduces the impact of others' behavior on you and helps you to build healthier relationships by always protecting yourself. Increasing your self-confidence makes it easier to deal not only with disrespect, but also with other challenges in life. Strong inner confidence increases your resilience to negative influences from the outside world and allows you to live a healthier, more balanced, and peaceful life. This is the end of our video. I hope these 8 methods have helped you deal with disrespect. By using these techniques in your life, you can become stronger and more confident. If you found this content helpful, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to our channel. You can also share your own methods of dealing with disrespect by commenting below. See you next video.